Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with Daily Technical Update. It's Tuesday, the 21st of January. US market were closed yesterday, so we'll just very quickly go over what could be the development in the next few days. Excuse me. Pre-markets here, we are up about 0.25% in S&P 500. A fairly muted response to the inauguration and speeches yesterday from President Trump. But RSI is still in negative sentiment, but the future / the US 500 CFD is above the cloud area, trying to establish a bullish trend. On the Nasdaq 100 that closed Friday just around the upper falling trend line, broken above the upper falling trend line or the RSI, and still in a positive sentiment, indicating that uptrend could resume. And here pre-market we also up about 0.25%, and we are up above the upper falling trend line. So I would regard this as the uptrend has resumed. This correction is about to be over, and if RSI closes back above 60 threshold, well, then we will it will further confirm uptrend. Dow Jones index that closed above resistance for 43.374. Still negative sentiment, but I think it will break above 60 threshold on the RSI. And you can see here that pre-market we also have a little bit RSI very close to 60 threshold. So, and we are in the cloud now above the 55 moving average, which is rising. So I think we will see market moving higher in the next couple of days. On the European market, yesterday was another good day for EUROSD that spiked higher. We also had supported by the RSI that is pointing to higher levels. There's no divergence, and we could see EUROSD pushing higher. If we're moving on to the weekly chart, we can see it's broken this triangle-like pattern here that is pointing to much higher levels above 5,250. Expect some corrections, of course. Here pre-market we are just a little bit lower, but that's not much. Still in a bullish trend. DAX also were higher yesterday, and it spiked just above 21,000. So maybe we could see a little bit of correction here the next couple of days, but I think it will stay in the bullish trend. There's no divergence on the RSI. All indicators pointing to higher levels on the European markets. Euro dollar broke above its falling trend line yesterday, setting back a little bit today. There's still potential to test the 104.60, but if it's running out of steam already now and starts sliding back below the falling trend line here, then downtrend could resume. It is not unlikely, however, that it actually spikes up to the 786 retracement of this downtrend here at 105.30, but there is some strong resistance here just around 104.60. Cable also trying, had a good day yesterday. Well, good day. Moved higher yesterday, but still below the falling trend line and still below the 38.2 retracement here at 123.70. It should bounce a little bit further, but the trend is down. If it moves back above 123.70 and above the upper falling trend line here, there could be potential up to the 61.8 retracement of 125.40, but we are in an overall downtrend. And if it takes out the lows from yesterday, a downtrend is to resume with a potential down to 118. The Euro sterling, a little bit volatile yesterday, spiked a little bit higher, but still below the 84.60, 65 resistance here. We could still see a correction down to around 84, maybe a little bit lower. But I think if it does close above 84.65, then there is potential higher to 85 and 86. Yen pairs have been fairly muted in the response overnight, just a little bit dancing more or less on the spot, testing the 55 moving average and the 32 retracement here at 154.97. There is correction potential down to 152.55, where we have the 200 moving average. giving some support, and also the 100 coming up there. Currently, there's still a positive sentiment, but the divergence indicate that it was trend exhausting. So let's see. If it starts moving back above 157.5 around that area, then I think uptrend will resume. Euro yen that bounced off the support here at 159.80, back above 55, and then now back below. Can't really make up its mind, but there's still positive sentiment on the RSI, so let's see about that. However, we can see lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and lower low. If it takes out 159.80, well, then expect to push down to 158 at least. On Aussie yen, more or less stepping sideways after breaking bearish out below this rising trend line here. Negative sentiment on the RSI indicating we are likely to see lower levels on Aussie yen. We also see the 55 broke below the 100 moving average, and we are below the cloud, so we are in a negative trend on Aussie yen, and could test the 95.50 support down here and also break lower, I believe. The sterling yen bounced from 189.55 support, could bounce a little bit further to 192.75 level, possibly up to 194.85, but you see they have the 21 coming down, we have the 55 coming down, the 100 putting a lid on it here too. We are negative sentiment on the RSI, indicating the downtrend could resume if it takes out the lows here at 189.33, 189.30, I would say. Well, then expect the 188 trough here to be taken out. Aussie dollar broke above its falling trend line yesterday. Could almost up to minor resistance here at 63. There is potential up to the resistance here and the 38.2 retracement at 63.44, 45 area, where we have the 55 moving average coming down, giving a pressure to the downside. I think we could see that, and then I think we'll see downtrend resuming. Dollar Canada, very volatile overnight following the speeches from President Trump yesterday about tariffs on Canadian goods. So let's have a look at what's actually going on there. Well, it hammered actually established a new bullish trend, and then got hammered back down, and now bouncing back here from the previous lows here at 142.80 level. And I think it still will resume uptrend eventually, but we can also see here that the RSI is declining, but there's no divergence. Well, there was actually divergence there, so now I have to change that and say, well, we actually did get divergence there with higher high there, but a bit above here, but not a higher high on the RSI. So we are in a bit of a limbo. If it takes out the lows from yesterday, then I think we could see a sell-off down to around 141. But if it can push higher here, well, then there's still potential to 146.47. Sterling Canada, of course, was also affected, and we saw the Sterling Canada spiking higher in this correction above the 38.2 retracement, above the 200 moving up to the 61 at 178, and then it retraced. Can still crawl higher, but it is a fairly strong resistance up there, and let's see here. If it takes out the high from today, well, then it could move up to 179. We can see here, I've added MACD down here. It's starting to turn around, and also the RSI turned around here. So let's see if it takes out the peak from today, this morning. Well, then we're looking at 179. EUR/Swiss tested yesterday and also this morning the 94.50 resistance. We are in a positive sentiment on the RSI. We are in a bullish trend, so I think it will break higher to 95 here in the coming days. However, if it takes out the lower rising trend line, well, then a downtrend could resume and will probably be confirmed if we break back below 93.35. Dollar Swiss in a correction phase. It's been looming for quite some time. Sold off a bit yesterday, still support here at 90.22 and the 38.2 retracement. I think it could be tested. If it's taken out, well, then there is a risk down to the 61.8 retracement, around 89 10 level, 15-10 level. So we are in a correction phase there, and the same can also be said for the dollar index that yesterday actually closed below the support at 108.25, started this morning above, but I think we'll see a further decline to 107.16 support area before I think we'll see a bounce. Gold is, as we speak, penetrating the, breaking above the resistance here at 27.26, the peak here from back in December, and if it closes above, further confirming the bullish trend, but it already confirmed on the RSI. I think we are set for higher levels after breaking out of this triangle-like pattern that actually gives potential up to above 2,900, but short term I think we'll see it crawling higher to short to medium term to 28.34, maybe a little bit higher. On the silver is really lacking here. But maybe it will catch up one of these days. It seems like it's starting to just have some foundation. I mean, we are in a bullish trend, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, but need confirmation by getting the RSI back above the 60 threshold, and I would like to see it back above the 100 moving average. Copper is in a correction phase. It started Friday and is continuing today. Currently below the 38.2 retracement. I think we see a correction possibly all the way down to spike down to 1840, which is the 61.8 retracement. I don't think it will close below the cloud. I think it will bounce off if it actually gets back all the way down there. I'll remove this one so we can better see what's going on. So it doesn't close below the cloud. We are still in a bullish trend, positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence. We are likely to break higher or resume uptrend. I just need to have this correction over, and I want to see solid ground down here between 420, 418 level. I think we could see that. Crude oil also in a correction phase. Let's remove this one. Crude oil also in a correction phase after it fails to close above its key resistance here at 78.46 on the weekly. We are now in a correction phase and currently very close to the 38.2 retracement at $76. We could correct all the way down to 61.8 and support here just around $73, 72.80 above the cloud. We are in a bullish trend. There's no divergence on the RSI. I think we will resume uptrend after a correction phase. A similar picture almost on Brent Crude, of course. Still above the 38.2 and still above the 200 moving average. And if we're looking at the weekly, we can also see the 81.59 resistance. It didn't close above the falling trend line there. So we are still medium term. It's not a clear that it will resume uptrend, but let's see if it can take out the peak here from last week. Well, then I think we will see it resume uptrend. But for now, we are in a correction phase. On the Dutch gas, it seems to be gaining momentum again, and I think it will crawl higher here in the coming days. There's no divergence on the RSI, which is positive and indicating likely higher levels. And I think here in a couple of weeks' time, we will be up in the area around 54, 55, where there's some strong resistance in this region up here around 55, 56 level. If it takes out the spike up there at 48.72, then I think we'll challenge the peak there, and I also think it will take it out at the 51. Henry Hub gas, on the other hand, is not convincing. I mean, we are still in an uptrend, but it's not that strong at all, and there's also now divergence. You can see the RSI here lower than the over here, but the closing prices over here was higher than here, so there's divergence. So maybe we are in a trend exhaust in short term, which is quite interesting since they are really in the deep freeze in the North America at the moment. The US 10-year Treasury yields, well, still in a correction phase, dipping almost down to 451, 450 key support here. If it takes out that, well, then we could see push down to around 440. However, still positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence, indicating likely higher levels, and it will resume uptrend. You can see it's a correction phase, positive sentiment on the RSI, also indicating likely higher levels on the 10-year. The 2-year, little bit more muted here the past few days, still above the rising trend line, could dip down to 415, which is the key support level. The Euro 10-year, oops, it disappeared there, sorry about that, I will get it back. The Euro 10-year still in a correction phase, could still drop down to 244, which is the 61.8 retracement. I'm not sure it will do that, but it could do that before I think it will resume an uptrend. Still positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence, indicating likely higher levels. The UK 10-year, well, 460, I think it will bounce from here. We had a bit of volatile day yesterday. I think it will start crawling higher if it can get back above 471, 472, and then I think it will resume uptrend, and especially if it get back above 477, 75 here, then I think we will see that the uptrend has resumed. Bitcoin, well, Bitcoin actually spiked to all-time highs yesterday, almost up at 110, just below 109, 358 and a change. But then it slided back at the end. So maybe it is really struggling for momentum. However, we are in a bullish trend. It's not that, and we canceled the shoulder pattern with this move here. But still around 90,000, still key support that should be observed. But now it's like it's really lacking momentum. Couldn't follow through and stay above it, which is a little bit of a sign of a weakness. Ethereum, well, it's still really not doing much. Trying to catch up. What is interesting is that 55 moving average is turning around, so it will give it a bit of a pressure. If it moves back below 3,000 again, then I think we will see further selling pressure there. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day, and talk to you again tomorrow.